Hello and welcome to a brand new Overton Audios podcast. My name is Connor Chadwick.
And I'm Daniel Patton.
And on today's podcast, I will be interviewing, or chatting, whatever you call it, with John and Harper on Time Traveller 2015, which is due for release in early May.
And then later on, myself and Connor will be going through comments on our latest releases on Overton Audios and Fractured Timeline.
Following that, I will be talking with Oliver Alexander on SUPERS Volume 10, which is coming out late May.
And then after that, we'll be going for the comments of the latest announcement of Uncharted Past Volumes 3 and 4.
Wow, that looks and sounds to be exciting, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Quite a lot more than we had last month, I say.
Yeah, last month I think went quite well. From what I saw, there were quite a lot of people who really enjoyed last month's podcast.
Yeah, definitely, and I was kind of surprised. I don't think podcasts were that big, but apparently
it really blew up, didn't it? It really got a lot of views.
It did.
More than I thought it did.
Yeah, it did, and it was great to see the audience respond and responding well. So thank you to everyone who joined in the last podcast and gave us positive feedback. So what is going on with us and the world? I think we know what's going on with the world, but I think people want to know what's going on with us.
Yeah, the world is still quite mad. I've still been working still. I've still had to go into London and go to work because outside of Overton Audio's world, I work for my dad's company in construction, and construction has not stopped because it costs so much to keep going. So we haven't, and as a freelance company that I work for, we can't afford to stop either. So the difficulty is having to go into London. So I was awake for a very long time, about 21 hours yesterday. And I went to bed late and had to wake up at a normal time to keep my sleeping pattern. So if I sound a bit grumbly, everyone who's listening, just know that when the segments come along later, when I'm talking to other people, they were done weeks ago now. So I sound a lot better and a lot freer with my time. So there's that.
A busy chat is a sleepy chatters.
Oh my god, definitely. But yeah, other than that, I've been working on releases for the beginning of next year. Obviously, from what you announced for Uncharted Past, which we'll talk about later, we've been busy doing that. I've written a crime drama that isn't related to Doctor Who or any of our current releases.
How dare you?
It's just a singular thing that's coming out in February next year. The thing is, I really wanted to push everything at it and try and get a really solid cast. Not that I don't try to anyway, but this is something that I actually made a version of this in 2008 with my younger sister.
When
I was 12 or 13. We made it, and it was maybe like CSI Miami or something, but I've tried to work it into something that sort of more resembles like a sort of broad church sort of vibe.
Interesting.
Sort of thing.
Very interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm. Other than that, what have you been working on, Dan?
I can finally talk about what I've been working on because we've been keeping it a secret for so long. Because I was being really vague in the last podcast about what I've been working on because obviously it was a secret. But now we get to talk about it. I've been working on the scripts for volumes 3 and 4 for Uncharted Past. And so far, nearly all my scripts are done. We're just getting the others done now. I don't want to say what the exact progress is, but the progress is strong, and we're getting there very much quicker than I expected, which is cool.
And just to clear this out of the way, I just thought rather than waiting until any comment section or Q&A, we could just get this out of the way now regarding Uncharted Past. The amount of episodes per volume.
Yes.
Because I know there's been some concern.
There has been a bit of a concern with the other bit of news about Uncharted Past Volumes 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Is that we are cutting the volumes by an episode, so there are 4 episodes each.
However, with Volume 3, there is a special episode.
Yes, there's a special episode
to it. Which makes it still technically 5, but it's more of it's separate because I think we're okay saying this, but the reason why we've announced volumes 3 and 4 together is that because they are part of one overarching 8-part story, you could call it.
Yeah, like it's there's the two main reasons is because one will be dragging out that storyline for far too long, and two means you don't have to pay cast for 2 extra episodes.
Yeah, the financial part is a bonus, but ultimately, I think it really helps the story become more concise. I'm really, really excited by some of the stories we've been able to put together for it.
Yeah, it's really quite epic.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Aside from those announcements, in terms of, again, like I spoke about earlier in the coming up, as we're recording this at the moment, it's the 1st of May. Tomorrow, as we're recording, obviously, the trailer for Time Traveller 2015 is released, followed by the volume coming out on the 9th of May. Following that, of course, after that comes out bi-weekly, when we've got SUPERS Volume 10 starting on the 23rd of May, I believe. That leads through into June. Yeah, both of them are very, very important volumes, I'd say.
Definitely,
because Time Traveller, something we made visually starting in 2014, hence why the volumes have always had year dates. This volume puts together a failed version of Time Traveller. I know you weren't necessarily around full time for that, Dan, but that was the original series too. Do you remember how I
so like this volume coming up is sort of like what you wanted to do with the second series, but weren't capable at the time.
But yeah, because series 1 of Time Traveller, the visuals anyway that I'm talking about, was 6 episodes, and then we wanted to make another 6 episodes for series 2. But some cast, because we were still at uni, we weren't paying anyone. Nobody had to commit the way we were hoping they would. But in a nutshell, people's commitments fell to other places and priorities because we were also uni students. We didn't have the time. So we weren't able to tell the stories, but all the scripts were written. So I've been able to adapt them for audio, and that's what Time Traveller 2015 is. It means I've been able to tell the original series 2 and still make it work, which is something I've always been excited about.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it because you told me like little pieces about it, but now we get to hear what you originally intended for that, and from what I heard, folks, it's pretty epic. I strongly recommend going to listen to it. I'm gonna be checking it out because I've been looking to see some of the ideas you've had for the original series 2 for ages. So I'm glad you finally got them done.
Yeah, and speaking of which, let's go over to the little chat I had with John and Harper for the volume. Overton Audios presents.
But at one point we all lived under the same roof. We had each other's backs.
And then you left.
We're meant to serve the law, but we're now serving Thorncall.
What are you doing here?
Hello, Harriet.
They're protecting Leo.
Protecting him? Why?
I'm not even supposed to be in the UK.
Then this is the perfect time to explain that.
Do you want to explain to me what the hell that was?
We needed answers.
As far as I'm aware, the previous detectives on the case weren't able to find anything.
And they're blaming you and your colleagues?
We're all under review for not helping him.
Do it then. Kill me.
What?
That's what the police do nowadays, isn't it?
I just wanted to see how you are.
You made your feelings perfectly clear, Leo. You're not here to speak to me. I need to understand.
I am not a murderer. I've not killed anyone.
Time Traveller 2015, beginning 9th of May 2020 at 12 p.m.
Just tell me the year.
2015, mate.
It worked.
So here I am now, joined by John and Harper. Hello, John.
Hello there. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, good. As far as you've just told me, you woke up 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I woke up 20 minutes ago. I was intending to get up at like 9 or something like that so I could start editing, but I went to bed at like 2:30 in the morning yesterday.
I went to bed
today.
Well, I'm a shambles. I went to bed at 3 and had to wake up at 8 to go to a work meeting. Well, a Skype work meeting because the current climate we're in at the moment, which is, as of recording this, COVID-19. Hopefully when this comes out in a month, in May, we'll be in a better place. But yes, so I wanted to talk about Time Traveller 2015 and generally Time Traveller in general and your involvement in it. You play Andrew Pierce. You first appeared in the first episode of the whole Time Traveller Audios in 2014 with my character Leo. In 2015, there's not as... If you can hear banging again, anyone who's listening, and John, it's more cooking going on downstairs. We're going to have to put up with it. I'll try and get rid of it in the edit, but we'll see. But you also, in 2015, you're in 2 episodes, and, well, obviously it's not out yet by the time of when this will be released either. But I like to think that there's quite interesting development for your character.
I mean, with the Time Traveller, it feels weird that it's sort of like happening because it's stuff that you did when you were kids.
I only finished it. I only finished it 3 years ago. I only finished the visual series 3 years ago.
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I'm just looking through. Oh no, I'm talking about Supers. Never mind. Sorry, I can't tell the difference between Supers and Time Traveller. I play the same voice.
For those of you who might be new to Overton Audios content or generally just been following Overton Audios content, I also make a monthly vlog on one of my vlog channels on YouTube. Back in the summer of 2018, I announced that Time Traveller was going to be having 4 volumes, following each year leading up to the end of the visual series. The visual series was created between 2014 and 2017. Obviously, we've had 2014 come out, and now we've got 2015, and I've obviously got 2016 and 2017. And John's character is playing a big role in all of them. Obviously,
yay!
Yes, indeed. Obviously, we're not going to talk too much about...
because spoilers.
Of what's to come in 2016 and 17, because as of when we're recording this, I've started writing Time Traveller 2017. Only took me nearly 2 years to start. And... we've got all the other 3 recorded, and obviously there were some special volumes in between that to sort of help expand the story further. But, John, from your experiences recording Time Traveller, I know you play a lot of characters in my audios, so I know that sometimes it can be difficult to keep track of which character I'm talking about. Essentially, at the moment, with how Andrew Pierce is coming across in the audios at present... We're building him up to be a bigger character. He's in episodes 1 and 2 of Time Traveller 2015. And of course, he, let's just say he betrays an old friend in those bits, if you remember that scene, John.
Yes. I say confidently.
In that case, we might as well, whilst still trying to keep on talking about Time Travel a little bit, talk about, I suppose, your experiences playing characters in Overton Audios, and just to sort of, because this is your introduction really as well in the podcast properly as you, rather than the Master, General Marsh, Andrew Pierce, Miles.
I'm playing everyone who isn't me.
Yeah, so this is actually the first time you've got to speak as yourself through Overton Audio. So
it happened. It happened on a. It happened on a February day where I messaged channels. I think I commented on this channel, and I asked him if we could help out with each other's Doctor Who series. And so it was then that I ended up, he helped me out with my stuff, and I helped him out with playing the Master, and I ended up doing Dalek stuff, which as time went on, I hope they got better. Although, unfortunately, you won't know because everything happens a year in advance.
Well, yeah, that's something that me and John were saying was, for
John?
example, yeah, that's you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's something that me and you were saying. I'm just saying me and John because somebody else.
I woke up 20 minutes ago. I'm out of it.
You are John, and the people are listening to us. That's why I say me and John, because we're talking to people. So, myself and John, who is on this podcast with me, I've completely lost my trail of thought.
I've given you like the complete mental breakdown that I'm having.
I'll try and find my point whilst I say this, but you and I started talking, John, through. I remember Survival of the Cybermen came out in November 2017, but at that time, I wasn't following my audios a lot. So you'd actually commented on the video, going, "Shall we create a multiverse or universe together?" And I actually replied like 2 to 3 months later.
Yeah, I remember. I remember like commenting that like around like November, December time, thinking, "Oh, didn't know this existed." Because the thing is, it was very hard to find your audios. I imagine because you used to not put Doctor Who in them. It used to just be the title of the episode.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah. So when I typed in Doctor Who fan series, it was just by chance because it was like it was really far down when I scrolled. Because the thing is, I was looking for people to like cooperate with, because it's as amazing as like Doctor Who fan communities are. It's actually quite hard to get into them. But I soon found out. But then when I messaged Chadders, we were like, yeah, let's help out. And then I ended up playing so many cool characters like the Master. And it sort of grew from there, and it was really fun. I still
remember our first Skype call.
I can't remember anything.
No, I know you can't remember your own name apparently. But I remember our first Skype call. We actually were pretty alright to start with. We kind of kicked it off quite well. I thought it was going to be like both of us just being a bit cautious, because obviously we'd only messaged on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I think we went through YouTube direct messages when they still existed.
Yeah, the thing is, I commented on your channel, then we went through direct messages, then very quickly I got your email, then you emailed, I think I emailed you my Skype account. Maybe. And then we just got talking from there, and
that was February 2018. And it's been 2 years have flown by.
Yeah, 2 years. We've known each other for 2 years.
And something that we said before was, if we hadn't have started talking, my audios and your audios wouldn't be as far as they are now.
Yeah, I think that's pretty true. Mainly because, well, at the time when I was trying to make audios, I had no idea how to do them because I was just starting out with them. So if you go back to listen to Series 1 of Dark Legends...
which, of course, is John's on Dark Design Dramas.
Subscribe.
Yes,
Dark Design Dramas. Subscribe now. but yeah, so if you listen back to Series 1, I made audio dramas which were inaudible. They were that bad. But then as it went on with this help, I managed to create a little bit of a story, a bit of a plot, and it just ended up coming together. And the same with Chadders here. When I helped him out, it became, instead of just one series of Doctor Who, it became many series of Doctor Who.
Well, yeah, because I was quite, in terms of what I was making, I wasn't that bothered, was I? I was just maybe I'll make this, maybe I'll make that. And then I remember you recorded, your first recording was for Series 1, Episode 7, which was called Altered Perspective. And that wasn't, I remember we actually finished recording that in March 2018.
March 2018?
We did it pretty quickly, but then it didn't come out until the end of May. And I remember you going, "What? Why? Why?
Why have you done this to me?"
But yeah, when it came out, obviously, we were all happy, and the whole General Marsh arc kicked off from there, really.
Yeah.
General Marsh wasn't even supposed to be the Master originally.
Was it not?
No. When because General Marsh's first technically first appearances in The Gathering, playing I was voicing it originally, doing a weird voice because I had little cast to work with, and it was just me going, "Hello, I am General Marsh," which of course now we've actually got someone cast who's now actually going to be appearing in by now, by the time this comes out, Transcendence will have already been released. Kerry Twine plays General Marsh, who is the previous incarnation to your Master, General Marsh. General Marsh was just meant to be a Time Lord General. That was the villain. It wasn't meant to be the Master originally. But then when I knew that the Parallel Doctor was coming to an end, and then we were going to move into more of the DW 2012 timeline with the Cravat Doctor, part of me thought, well, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. about where things have been. So I thought, why not have that twist and have it be this Time Lord General who acts nothing like the Master, is the Master, but somewhat reformed, still with like tendencies of murder and all that sort of stuff. But like, he's more held back and reserved.
Yeah, I love like the character building around it, because it sets itself up over multiple seasons of Resurrection and over 2 volumes of General Marsh, and then with Transcendence, it sounds like it's ending, but it's just the beginning. It's so weird. It's just the way you can listen to it. It sounds like it's like the end of an era, but I don't know how to explain it.
And with Transcendence is effectively the end of an era. We have the end of the General Marsh arc for good. Obviously, if we go back and do some, I don't know, there was that talk about a year ago, wasn't there, about doing a volume called General Marsh The Early Years, which was...
Yeah, with the previous General Marsh.
Yeah, which I would love to do one day, but I just don't know if I can see it happening. It's not something I want to do immediately. I've always seen General Marsh as you. Obviously, yes. Obviously, Kerry Twine does a really good job anyway, playing the General Marsh of the past. But I think the reason why I found General Marsh so interesting is because he is balancing between the Master and this General Marsh persona, whereas Kerry Twine's General Marsh is just General Marsh. So effectively, having just the Master be a Time Lord General and not have any Master quirks is just writing for a Time Lord General, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's why I quite had a lot of fun writing for Kerrian's General Marsh in Transcendence, because he was dragged into a partnership with the Master.
Yeah, he became a grunt for the Time Lords.
No. He became a grunt for the Master, for his previous and future self. Because
and
he did become a grunt for the Time Lords too, but he wanted to do that because he was in hiding. But the point being is that I don't have... If I'm going to do a General Marsh Early Years volume, it might as well be a Gallifrey volume.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Time Traveller, because that's why we're here.
Love Laurent.
James, please pick up.
Oh my god!
Huh? Andrew!
What are you doing here?
I work here.
Wow. How things change.
Yeah, it's a long story. How have you been?
I've been alright, yeah.
So, have you heard from Tim recently?
Why are you working here? I thought you were against Data Line.
Shh! I was. I am.
Then why are you here?
Look, I can't talk to you about it here. I'm keeping an eye on them, that's all.
Right. So you're a librarian?
Yes, exactly.
Alright, well, I guess I'll see you around.
Bye. So 2015 is coming out on the 9th of May and will be coming out bi-weekly and finishing on the 20th of May. The trailer, again, we're recording this so far in advance, the trailer may or may not be out. Of course, we've put a preview sample before this section anyway, so that you can see it. It'll probably be out by now, because the trailer comes out on the 2nd of May, and the podcast will probably be coming out a couple of days after. So, so at the moment, it's going to be coming out shortly. Obviously, we've got Supers Volume 10, which is the next segment with myself and Ollie talking about Supers Volume 10. But yeah, is there anything you wanted to add about Time Traveller at all, John?
I mean, what I love about Time Traveller is that it finally feels good to be just playing a human, and I get to put myself into the character. Mainly because, I'm always playing. I'm either playing like a Time Lord, or I'm playing like some alien that you want me to play, like a Dalek or a Cyberman or something like that, or just some wildebeest. But so when it comes to Time Traveller, I'm just playing a normal person. I can put myself into it, like I use my normal voice, and I just sort of I weave the words to be me in a way, because it's the most human I'm ever going to be. so yeah.
It's the most human I'm ever going to be.
That could be put in the quotes.
Yeah, definitely. Okay then, John. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I look forward to working with you again, which I think I've sent you about a couple of scripts. So it's not like we're stopping anytime soon, is it? We're always pushing forward here.
Yes,
at Overton
we always do
Audios.
things more than a year advance.
Yes, definitely. And even though people tell me, "Oh, we've got loads of time," I'm like, "No,
We do not.
time is finite."
I think you do it a lot more cleverly than I do, because I always do like plan things like a year in advance, but never get them finished by that time.
Well, thank you very much again, John. Very much appreciated for you finding the free time to do this.
Thank you.
And I will speak to you later. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
So, yes, Time Travel will be coming out on the 9th of May and continuing bi-weekly. That's 4 episodes. So, I believe that takes us to the... Am I right in saying the 19th? Maybe? Maybe the 19th? I don't know. Either way, it will be out before the 23rd of May, which is when SUPERS starts.
Yes, because time is but a construct.
Yes, indeed. It's but a fiction created by us.
to relieve some sort of a semblance of passing when we are just slowly but steadily just going through our day-to-day lives thinking it'll never end, but it will. It will.
Moving on. So we're going to read some comments from our latest releases. So do you mind if I make a start there?
Please.
Obviously, I was very heavily promoting Transcendence in the podcast last month because that's the release that we've all, year in the making, well, year in the finishing, but but like it's been a year in waiting for it, and obviously we've all felt very passionate about it, which I'm very thankful for.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of comment feedback on each part, so here are some of the comments we have from Dr. Redivius, or Redivius, who's Michael Cox. Very enjoyable, an excellent start to the spring special. I love the way you've put together the soundtrack and everything fits perfectly. I really like the performances from James and Joanna. I feel like I've missed out on not having listened to the young Doctor's adventures. A mistake on my part I intend to address, which of course Michael has addressed because he's been commenting on them ever since. So he's been going through them. Other comments on part 1 include ones like great story so far. John even commented saying it was a beautiful thing to be a part of, and a lot of people seem to be liking part 1. Part 2 talks about how, for example, comment from Coolio Cats here. Honestly, this is awesome. I really do think fans' reactions to the Timeless Child in the real Doctor Who would have been so much better if instead of the Doctor being a Timeless Child, they went from Doctors from other universes. See, that's not an awful idea either.
No, not at all.
No? I like the way
everyone's canon.
Yeah, exactly. I like the way that comment twists immediately. Suddenly end up in Timeless Child territory. And then obviously we have the final episode of Transcendence. That was an amazing this is from TARDIS Glitch. That was an amazing final episode. Why do I love John's master's laugh? But just wow with everything. I can't wait for the next one. Although he did write, can wait. So I can't wait for the next one. So,
yeah. Well, John's master's laugh is a pretty eerie laugh.
Oh yes, very much.
He's had a lot of practice being a villain. So
yes. And another comment from Tok0190. There were no words for these episodes except brilliant. Which, thank you very much. I am very thankful for everyone enjoying the episodes so much. They've got the highest viewership in really, I don't know if a really long time or ever on Overton Audios. I think what helps with that is not just everyone marketing it, including yourself, but also the sheer scale.
Yeah, it is a massive scale story with a lot of characters and a lot of moving sequences and I say set pieces. It's audio, but still, like it's grand in terms of the way you put it together.
And also, literally, and I know we've said this before, like purely by coincidence, because this story features literally Nathan Carter and Callum Baird reprising the roles that they played in their Doctor Who series, NTC Pictures. By complete coincidence, when the final part of Transcendence came out, Nathan announced that he is completely rebooting Series 4, which involves those same characters. Which
bit of a coincidence. Some may say convenient, but I think it's. I just think it's just excellent timing on both parties' hands. So looking at Fractured Timeline episode 1, we have the Spark. It's got like over 100 comments right now, so I'm only going to go for the most recent. We got Anne Hunter. Wow, I absolutely love this. The voice of the Electric Man was creepy. Who did it? That'd be our Luke Lane. God, this is a long name. Dan Dies, 1997. Love Anime Girl and Queen Elsa. Just subscribe.
Wait, hang on. That's the username.
No, like the just subscribe is the comment. That everything else was the username.
Oh right, okay.
And it was a long username.
Yeah, I couldn't tell where it ended.
And we got a comment from Hey, it's Luke Lane.
Oh, the one and the only.
The legend himself.
Yes.
The comments that says brilliant, absolutely completely brilliant. Playing Steticus was a fun experience. We played around with so many voice effects, and to see him brought to life is breathtaking. I love the Irish Doctor. Definitely one of my favorite one of my favorites in DW 2012. Don't tell Newman. Sorry, Luke. Newman. Maggie May, Chef's Kiss, perfect. As I've already seen what's released April 8th. It's beautiful to see her beginnings before she becomes the character by the end of The Candidate. I love the subtle nods to Essence of a Legacy, and of course the Little Red Doctor. Steve McCullough was a great choice for Senior Dawson. He just has that sinister charm to him. He does. Overall, this was a goddamn blast of an episode. Can't wait for more. I can't wait to see what's next, Dan. So yeah, really nice comment from Luke.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you very much, mate. But we'll go to episode 2. We've got some really nice comments. We're going to sort them out to the newest because
there were always so many.
We got Michael Cox.
Mm-hmm.
The lovely Michael, the lovely Hartnell. He says, "Oh, that was brilliant, Daniel. I love the way the solution ties into the prequel." Yes, thank you very much, Michael. And I'm happy as well. I'm happy things are starting to tie. This is the episode that things are starting to get tied together. Not going to lie, the opening scene is the best first trip in the TARDIS montage I've ever seen. And it was completely made up on the spot. Like, no joke, it was made up on the spot. Because we were like meant to shoot this really cool scene at the beginning, but we didn't have any videographers, so we just decided to film some really nice scenes of Long Ireland and cut to that music.
Lovely.
And if we go on to The Candidate, written by the loveliest of people, Connor Chadwick. Don't know if you ever heard of him.
Oh.
He's just great.
Did you want me to give a go at reading that novel of a comment?
I think that'd be best because my dyslexia might hinder that bit. But I'll read some nice little small comments from the viewers because there's been so many lovely comments about this episode. Let's have a look. See, the actors are amazing. We saw a more vulnerable side of Maggie, which is incredibly well played. A lot of callbacks to previous episodes of DW 2012. A much darker toned episode. Pretty much any moment of this was a highlight. Congratulations! Thank you very much, Starborn.
Oh.
TARDIS glitch. Love this episode. I must know who the Lost Doctor is. Also, the Ronnie is amazing. You will all know who the Lost Doctor is in some point. I can't say when because I just can't.
You've had a lot of people offer to play the Lost Doctor already, haven't you?
Yeah, but the thing is, the Lost Doctor has already been cast, and they are very excited for the role and to film.
Whatever gender they may be.
Even if they are gender.
So, there's this comment from the candidate, from Christopher Miller, who is a great novelist, I've learned from this comment.
So have I. I mean, like, he sent us an essay study of this episode.
So I'll quickly read this, but trying to not be so quick that I slow my words, but also trying not to be so slow that we're here for a little while. Not that that's a criticism. We're very thankful for the review. We just don't want to waste anyone's time in this podcast. So, here we go. Stephen Moffat built his series around secret puzzles that were slowly explained to the audience throughout the duration of the series. Knowing that you guys do not have the resources, time or budget that the BBC gave to Moffat, you made your mystery box one of the main characters. Not in the same way that Clara was explained over Series 7, though. Instead of building the series around a complex cosmic idea box, you have spent 3 episodes tearing away the layers of a very realistic human being named Maggie May. I've said before that this character has, in terms of being relatable and believably developed character, reached the same level as Donna Noble, and I stand by that. But it is simply would not come together if you did not have an actor of the same caliber as Ms. Coyle. Not only is she confident and fully immersed in every moment, a skill that some actors take decades to master, but she gives an incredibly raw and vulnerable performance, reaching a place that is hard for even most experienced professionals to find. I don't know how she made these emotions her own, but the work that she puts in comes across beautifully, and I sincerely hope that someone in the professional field sees her here and gives her the career that she clearly deserves. Until then, though, I'll be quite happy following Maggie May's travels in the TARDIS. Speaking of the TARDIS, I'm going to come out and say it. I think this is my favourite incarnation of the Rani. I've not reached Big Finish's version of the character yet, so I can't speak for all of them, but Kate Lassman takes hold of every scene and does not let anyone else near the spotlight. Not only can she chew the scenery just as well as any Doctor Who villain, but there is a real person underneath that suave coat. She is trying to be better, as was hinted in the audio dramas. Loved that reference, by the way. I know continuity now. But she doesn't understand what being a good person is. The Doctor is quick to accuse her, and when Maggie May reveals that what the Rani is using for her own benefit, I feel the lead's anger is justified. However, I do have to agree with some of the other comments here. The story would have benefited from a longer runtime. You have set up the story about humanising our enemies and looking past our own personal biases, and the ending to the Rani story does feel somewhat rushed. The air of mystery and moral ambiguity around the character shadows the story in a feeling of tense isolation, which makes it a memorable caper for the Doctor and Maggie. Also, I imagine you only had so much time to film in London, but I applaud you for what you were able to do. At the end of the day, this is not a story about the Rani. This serves as your mid-season finale, finally showing us who Maggie May really is and helping her overcome the grief that defines her. And that final moment in the TARDIS works wonders due to both Anya Cole's masterful performance and humbly selfless, well-developed relationship between these characters. The line, "I know, but you were crying," proves that your team fundamentally understands what exactly makes the Doctor such a beloved role model and timeless character. His selfless abandonment of rules and devotion to the people and ideas he loves has made this series into one of the most respectable and valid interpretations of the show made by anyone. Although the plot is not quite able to flesh out the Rani scheme, the distinct direction and confidence of this incarnation kept me engaged, and the already realised bond between the Doctor and Maggie will always bring me back to the series, especially after that credit tease. Top that, Marvel. Your characters are real people, your plots are always engaging, and most importantly, your priorities are exactly where the Doctor would want them. I love your work, I support your careers, and I cannot wait for the next episode. Whew. That was a very lovely comment. I loved it.
I just thank you, Christopher, for that really lovely novel of a comment, and it when I showed that to Anya, it really made her day. So thank you very much from both me and her, and of course Connor.
Yeah, I do agree with the criticisms. I mean, I'm happy to admit this now because obviously when we released this, it was still very early days. But we've had a plan for the Rani for quite a while now. The original plan was she was going to be appearing in Return of the Rani. Obviously, she's already done that in Uncharted Past Volume 1. But there was a point where she is going to be reappearing in Doctor Who Resurrection Season 4.
Oh, yes.
Which, of course, I've not really spoken about, but the trailer comes out and, like, now we're post-Transcendence. The next thing is Series 4, so I might as well say it.
How do we know that Rani hasn't just left them and come straight here?
Very clever of you, for a human.
Rani.
You can start by getting your hands off my controls, Doctor. I've been waiting for a long time to have my ship back.
Then why haven't you just gone?
I was about to, until you came walking in.
Am I right, then?
You're never right.
The Rani is going to be facing the Cravat Doctor now, but obviously she is still coming off of what happened in The Candidate, so I can humbly understand and take the criticism that we always had that plan when we were writing The Candidate. So it's very, very possible that when I was writing it, if things come across like they're ending quickly, it's possibly because I was trying to keep continuity with already pre-recorded audios of Resurrection Season 4. Which of course, I'm going to take that on board and try and not do that anymore. But I'm still very glad that people loved Kate's incarnation of the Rani. She took it very seriously. She's one of the actors that I've worked with for Waterside, and which is a visual series that I make with Red Manor Productions. And obviously, she's been in the Time Traveller visual series, and she's going to be in the latest volume that's about to come out. So Kate's just, as I've always nicknamed her, the gold standard. She takes everything so seriously, and she's always so engaged, and she loves Doctor Who in general anyway. So I always knew that Kate was going to be great anyway, because it's Kate.
Yeah. I was genuinely terrified of Kate during some scenes. Like I was, there was a sort of like power play when it comes to acting. You sort of you've got to try, especially when you're doing a scene when there's confrontation. It's about trying to keep the power in the scene, and Kate is just, she doesn't let you have the power. She's all up in your face. It's just so it's so the Rani. I love it.
So what are you going to do? Bring down my whole campaign? Make all those people who've worked on this unemployed?
If it means stopping you from doing more harm, then I must.
Doctor, please, just think about what you're really saying.
Who's the company that supports you? MM. What does that stand for?
Don't dig any deeper, Doctor.
I would love to have Kate back as the Rani, but with how continuity is going, we'll have to see how that plays out.
Never say never.
Never say never, definitely. Especially when it comes to Doctor Who, never say never. Doctor Who is a show that's constantly growing and changing and evolving. Continuity is but again a construct that can always be skewed a little.
And of course, I'm the gatekeeper of the continuity, so I know we could make it work. But yes, thank you so much for everyone's lovely comments. We aim to try and make this a segment for every podcast, because obviously we know that we may not be doing a Q&A every single month. We are doing one a bit later, but not every month. So we wanted to come up with something like a comment read, so that everyone gets a chance to have their voice heard.
Yeah. So if you want your opinions heard on the podcast, go on to the Overton Audios releases and the Fractured Timeline releases, and we'll see if we can give you a bit of a shout out on the podcast.
Indeed. Now we move on to my chat with Oliver Alexander on Supers Volume 10.
Oh, interesting. Let's hear that.
Overton Audios presents.
And the builders are demolishing the building, but who's funding them?
I am.
Miles, how did you find us?
Come now, it wasn't difficult. Time for you both to explain yourselves.
They've been approaching this the wrong way. This whole time.
I know it's been a while for you, Mike, but we need you to come to the future of us.
I can absorb the powers of those around me should I choose to, including yours. Prove it. See?
All right, let me go.
Noah and I didn't know you until we came back.
That's not possible. Noah was my mentor.
You're the most powerful of us all.
That's the last thing I expected to hear from you.
Yeah, well, a lot has changed.
Where are we?
My home, where all supers are equal.
Since 2009, Abby and I have been gathering a group of supers to stop this world-ending event, but they all left one day. But now I know who really did it.
There's not long left until the end of the world. We need to work together. How many of these people actually want to stay here?
What do you mean?
You were never about kidnapping supers.
There's a strong chance he's interfering right now.
Supers, Volume 10, begins 30th of May 2020 at 12 p.m. So now we're on to the segment where we talk about Supers Volume 10, and joined with me now is Oliver Alexander. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm doing all right. We're here to talk about supers.
Yeah, well, essentially I was hoping that this segment, obviously, because this Volume 10 is the final volume of Supers. We obviously brought it back in 2018 with Overton Audios, just as one big 8-episode series.
Yes.
Back again in this year, a couple of months ago, for when this is out, with Volume 9, and now here we are in the final volume. We were just going to sort of talk about how it started, because obviously a couple of years ago now, we released some clips of the originals just for context.
We did.
But there obviously have been questions about what happened to the first 7 volumes, because you can't really find everything, and obviously we've been able to kind of start Volume 8 on sort of a clean slate. We know that stuff happened before, but
yeah. I mean, the thing is, with Volumes 1 to 7, they're mostly lost, sadly. Especially stuff from, I'd say, probably 1, 2, 3, and 4 is probably all gone. There might be a surviving bit out there somewhere, but there's only literally segments of the later ones, and even then, it's basically all gone.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's only one episode of Volume 1 that still exists, and it was one that Pete Adams recorded.
Yes, which is the same character he plays in Supers Volume 8, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Even the same powers.
Yes.
So it's like there is a continuity kept there. We kind of had to... I mean, whether or not you knew we were doing this anyway, but with me in my back of my mind, it was just, we have to keep continuity with the existing footage we've got.
Yeah, of course.
Because that's the only thing we've got to back up what we're doing. Obviously, I'm sure... I know that continuity pretty much went out the window, because there was also a series that you did called Mortis.
Yes, there was, indeed.
Which was pretty much side by side with Supers. Obviously, even after Supers went,
Mortis
you moved on.
So, I mean, you initially finished Supers in what
2010.
Year? 2010, and I finished Mortis in 2011.
I thought it was 2012.
No,
maybe that's when it came out.
Maybe that's when it came. I don't know, but I know I finished it in 2011, the last ever one.
But what you did in that was introduce a huge game-changing element to the whole Super storyline anyway, which is what we brought forward.
Influences Volumes 8, 9 and 10. The end of Mortis is what actually spurs Volumes 8, 9 and 10 of Supers into existence, really, I would say.
It's kind of what brought it back, because I know that we were talking, because it was... because Supers Volume 8 came out in March 2018, but there was a gap between 2016 and 2018, which was when we finished uni, until Supers, which was we didn't actually see each other for almost 2 years.
No, it was because you moved away and all of that business, and, it was just difficult, and I was... Well, yeah, we both had our lives.
Yeah, exactly. And so when we were talking about the idea, we never met up to discuss it or anything. We just sort of chatted. I think we probably had the occasional Skype session, because at the time we were recording The Gathering as well. God, that's a while ago when we're going back to Series 1. But
yes.
We...
Ladies and gentlemen, Connor used to live very near me, and now he lives in the Highlands of Scotland.
Oh.
Yes, far, far away.
That's where Shrek's in-laws live.
In Scotland.
No, far, far away.
Oh, in far, far away. Okay, right. I was going to say, right. Moving on. Back to Supers.
Back to Supers. Yes. So when we were bringing it back, I know that I'd kind of been watching some clips of what Supers was originally based on. It was originally based on an American TV show called Heroes, which I believe started in 2006 and finished in 2011 as well.
I'm not sure.
Well, I know that's when I started watching it.
I know that season 1 of Heroes was brilliant, and then it just sort of got. Well, look, we talk a bit about season 2, we talk a bit about season 3, but we don't talk about season 4.
Yeah, but that's essentially what the original Supers was completely based on. That's why we made it, is because we loved the show and we wanted to make our own version of it. But now obviously it's been gone for a while, and obviously with the new things that you brought in and Mortis, I thought that's a good way to maybe bring it back and include those newer elements in there. Of course, when we were discussing bringing it back, you were very much, and rightly so, saying we need to kind of talk about what was said in Mortis, because even though Supers had ended by then, Mortis technically continued that universe for a little bit longer and introduced some game-changing elements. So when we were writing Volume 8, there's a lot of references to not only what came before for Supers, but also with Mortis about all those bits. I think there was other little bits where we actually used the raw audio from bits and pieces.
Yes, we
as
did.
Well, just
and some of the
clips
that we actually put up as the old Supers volume, some of those were admittedly actually taken from some of the Mortis stuff rather than Supers, but they basically tie into each other anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It all works out.
But yes, I remember Supers, obviously, as you said, started as... I mean, look, I think it's fair to say that especially Volume 1 of Supers started out as very much a fan film of Heroes, with, I believe, potentially even some references to the existing Heroes universe that were quickly shunted out after a few seasons, I think. What volume of Supers did Mortis come into it? Was that volume 3 of Supers?
It was, and I remember the episode... and the title.
Yeah.
It was Volume 3, Chapter 9, and I think it was called something like Paranormal... It wasn't Paranormal Activity, but it was Paranormal something.
Yes.
And it was just Mortis. What I love is that in terms of the continuity of what we did, for people who don't know, at this stage it's probably simpler and there's not really spoilery anyway, but Mortis's real name is Noah.
Yes.
But what was funny is his mother in the scene was calling him Mortis.
Yes,
the first
yes.
Scene, Mortis, time for dinner!
I'm not obviously saying this would ever happen, but as an example, I think if we were ever to do Supers prequels audios that encompassed the original Super series and the original Mortis series, I think there would certainly be elements we would change. We'd stick to continuity, obviously, but there would certainly be things that we'd work around and make better. For example, definitely that Mortis "It's time for dinner" scene. That would probably have to go straight in the bin.
Yeah, and of course, we in that episode, and only that episode, never brought up again, we introduced Mortis' sister, who also had powers. And
she wasn't.
Did she appear one more time in Mortis?
She appeared about 2 or 3 times in Mortis.
Oh, okay. Because obviously from Supers, she just appeared that once.
I think she appeared in Mortis in the series. I think she appeared twice, and she also appeared in Mortis the movie. But then and then after that was never seen again. Because my sister grew up.
Yeah.
And wasn't happy to be in home movies for her older brother anymore about about superpowers and stuff, because who wants to do that?
Yeah, exactly. But with what we've done now, we had a time gap, a time jump between the ending of Supers and the ending of the Mortis movies and series. We've had to jump about 8 years, I think.
Yes. That's something I actually forgot. Just swinging back for a second, I kind of forgot about that character, and Mortis's actual sister, because obviously, Jake Chaddy still thinks that Mortis is his brother until obviously it's revealed that he's not. But Mortis is, Noah's actual sister. I don't think we mentioned at all in any of Supers Volume 8, 9 and 10.
No.
Which is something I actually forgot about until you mentioned right now after we finished them all.
Another big story that we were talking about as well. Yeah, the thing that was brought up, it's pretty much exclusively in the Mortis content, Abby West.
Yes, she was also brought in from Mortis, who is technically speaking, been played by 3 different people.
Yeah, well, at least we've got some
also actually acted by 2 different people, but her first appearance was in a photograph, and that was somebody else. And then her actual first speaking appearance was somebody else. And then in the audios, she's played by Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah Jordan Verghese.
Yes.
And we've obviously got Dan playing Luke Redford, yourself playing Noah now.
Yes.
We've got Ted Guttridge playing Smythe, who was also a Mortis villain.
Yes, Ted as Smythe. Smythe never appeared in Supers until Volume 8. He was always in Mortis. But obviously, as Volume 8 goes to show, Smythe was actually the creator of Supers, which is why Mortis sort of changed the Supers universe and why Volume 8 happened, because it was like, well, that would be interesting to sort of figure out all of the details in that and how it, the repercussions on the other Supers and stuff, essentially.
Well, the thing is, with Supers and how we've continued it, we've actually had to do quite a few recasts. So, for example, like Lucas Chaddy, or as he's also known, the Planner, that is a pretty major recast when you think about who originally played Lucas Chaddy, which was
I suppose,
our old friend Osama Kiani. And now
I suppose also when you think about how much the Planner was in both Supers and Mortis, because the Planner appeared in both. In fact, I believe the Planner also appeared in The Planner, but I don't think that ever happened.
Yeah, but no, the pilot was shot.
Oh, we did do the pilot for The Planner,
it was
didn't we,
called, It was called The Supers Star.
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
Which was kind of a weird title anyway. But, so he was always the main guy, our mutual friend Osama Kiani. But then, of course, we've all moved on. We were all just mates back then making films. So now things have obviously moved on, and we've got Chris Walker-Thompson playing the Planner. But, of course, the Planner himself, one of his abilities is to shapeshift. So that's kind of the bonus.
That does help.
That helps
Definitely
quite a bit.
Does help.
Yeah. And, of course, we've got Law Wilson playing Phoebe Chaddy now, who was obviously originally played by my sister. But, of course, times move on. And everyone wants to be at the time. Obviously, it was
exactly just same thing I said. Basically, they grow up and don't want to be in their older brother's films about superheroes anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got Law Wilson, who, for those of you who are Doctor Who fans and maybe still listening to this bit, Law played daughter of mine in Doctor Who in Human Nature and Family of Blood.
Yes,
so that's a great little thing as well. We've got Peter Michael George, PMG, as we all know him. He plays Michael Chaddy, who was obviously played by my dad as well, which is why the recast. But luckily, with the photos we've used of him, he does actually resemble a good likeness in terms of style.
Yes.
Obviously, I don't think if you put them next to each other, they'd look anything alike, but unless they were dressed in similar attire.
Yeah.
So, which is why I think we get away with it. I still play Jake Chaddy. Ollie, you still play Noah/Mortis. John N. Harper plays new character called Miles.
Yes.
Yeah, who I actually was originally going to have in Supers Powers Unleashed if we were to do another volume, which we didn't. Who was a guy who's like a magician.
Yeah,
who
I remember.
Use cards and illusions, which is essentially what Miles still is. Obviously, like I said, we have Abby, played by Sarah Jordan Verghese. Then we've got Alan. Alan's playing a character called Shade.
Yes, that's Alan Rafferty.
Yes,
for
Alan
those
Rafferty.
who don't know.
Yes, and then lastly,
he's playing Shade, and then from DW 2012 Doctor Who fame of Dominic G. Martin, who's also doing his own Doctor Who audio series called Remnants, I believe. He is in Supers Volume 10 as I've completely forgotten his character's name.
Jackson.
That's it, Jackson.
Indeed.
Yes, Jackson. Also a newcomer to Volume 10. So we had John be the newcomer in Volume 9, and I believe Abby wasn't in Volume 8. She came in Volume 9, didn't she?
No, she and John were only in the final episode
Of Volume 9.
Yeah, because of the timeline changes.
Yes, so obviously Abby, Sarah as Abby and John as Miles were both the newcomers at the end of Volume 9, and now Alan and Dom are both the newcomers for Volume 10. The final volume.
So the trailer for Volume 10 comes out on the 23rd of May 2020, followed by the series coming out bi-weekly, which is every 2 to 3 days-ish, from the 30th of May 2020, and obviously finishes on the 10th of June.
Okay.
Which then marks the ending. So very weird, and it will feel very weird after it's over. But you never know, when by the time that comes out, we might already be going, let's write Volume 3. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yes, thank you very much, Ollie, for making yourself free.
All right.
And
that's fine.
Back to you in the studio.
So I put up a questions tab on my Instagram the other day regarding questions for Uncharted Past Volumes 3 and 4. And you guys responded with some really cool questions. So, Connor, would you like to start us off?
Yes, this one is from Tuxedo Tramp 2305. Did you use After Effects for the TARDIS transition? I'm assuming that means the video.
Yeah, I used a mix of After Effects and Cinema 4D, and that's how I did that sort of glass smash TARDIS transition. From Hey, it's Luke Lane. Will Luke Lane be returning? I really like his voice acting.
I really like his voice acting too.
I do love his voice acting. It'd be great to have him in.
Oh yeah. If only he were.
If only. Hush hush, wink wink.
This comment is from DW Intro Edits, a favourite of ours.
Just say how you doing. Hope you're enjoying the podcast so far.
Yeah. What kind of stuff do you need to film audio episodes? I've been wanting to try it out. Well, at the moment, as we're recording this podcast, we're using voice memos on our iPhones.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, I can't stress this enough because I have a lot of questions about this. This is actually a brilliant question for us to cover. It's not as difficult as you think. Obviously, with companies that produce audio dramas, like you've got obviously Big Finish, you've got the BBC audiobooks. They have studios and padding around them to get the best audio you can. I know friends of mine who make audio dramas who just ask me to record my lines using voice memos on my iPhone, and they sound design it to sound like it wasn't on an iPhone. You actually, what you've got in your hand is the best microphone in some cases.
Yeah. And in terms of software, there's loads of free options out there currently. There's Audacity, which is completely free, and there's editing software that's out there. Just research, you'll find something. It's it's not expensive at all.
No, I use personally Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro is more of a video editing software, so I know that kind of defeats the purpose of audio. Usually you should go for something like Audacity or Adobe Audition if you've got the money for it. The only reason why I don't is because in your import media library, you can't put them into folders on Adobe Audition. So whereas on Premiere Pro, you can create bins, as they call them, which are just basically folders. Well, I can put in people's lines, I can put sound effects into their own folder, etc. It's a much more better file keeping system, so you can make your workflow easier. That's how I'm able to make so much so frequently, is because I've got my workflow organised properly that I can just go. Whereas with Adobe Audition, you'd have it all just cluttered all over the place. It would take you ages to find a file.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
From Type 40 Cosplay, will Nathan's relationship with Amber be explored in the next few volumes? Yes.
We both said yes at the same time. Yes.
It's going to become a fundamental part of the coming volumes. Okay, can we say Amber will be taking quite a bit more of a leading role in the coming volumes?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so she should be joining alongside Nathan Doctor in some episodes, and we'll see a lot more to Amber and a lot more to her character, and like you'll see whenever the volumes come out. It's really exciting what we got planned for Amber.
Or if anything, it will come across in the trailer.
Yes,
certainly, because we have those animated trailers, and she'll be on the cover arts. Don't you worry.
Oh yes.
My next question, which is from Pember Snapshot: are there opportunities to voice in them? There were always opportunities.
I'm thinking of putting up a casting call. That's something me and Connor will need to discuss.
I know that we've talked about it every now and again. I've had a lot of people message me just going, if you ever need me to play this character, here's what I sound like and here's some photos. And of course it's very flattering. It's just, unfortunately, most of the roles that you're asking for are taken. So it's difficult to try and, as much as I would love to get as many people involved, because with audio you can do anything. That's what's so great about it. It is also just about trying to be controlled with the story and be like, okay, I can't actually have everyone in it though, because I will, if I do everyone now, I won't be able to do a story later. So it's about trying to find that balance. But if anyone who has ever messaged me about it, and obviously I always reply to every message I get, I have not forgotten you. Don't you worry. If there's ever an opportunity, you will hear from me.
Nearby, we will make some opportunities for people to come in and voice some roles. But once we get all the scripts done, we'll send out casting calls. Sure.
Yeah.
Next question is from DW Intro Edits. Again, how you doing? How awesome is it to film audio episodes? I think we record, and it's I think I do like it, but I think there is an element of isolation when it comes to it when you don't have everyone with you.
I have my own system of doing it, which is obviously you're sat by yourself trying to keep the environment as quiet as possible, make your audio clean. What I do is when I record my lines is I read the script in my head and imagine how the other person is performing it. I know that can be risky and difficult because somebody else might play it completely differently. But most of the time when I do that, it seems to work out. You just have to kind of really, you have to isolate yourself from the world you're in.
Yeah. And like in an ideal world, we would all be together recording at the same time and like feeding lines to each other. But unfortunately, especially how things are currently, it's just not possible.
Yeah, which is in some cases, I mean, obviously very specific cases, is the reason how we're able to still carry on making audios is because the process that we follow doesn't change because we still record in separate locations. So we're able to still carry on as normal, despite what's going on in the world. And I think, for example, I've been getting some more recordings now for other audio dramas. Some of the actors that I've worked with on there have said it's been a very nice thing to be able to do something.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's also a bonus, is that not only are we able to continue as normal, but it's helping people helping other voice actors who are currently worried about the fact they don't have work, being able to still work. And that's also the really big bonus for it as well.
Agreed, very much so. And plus, it also gives them, because when you're stuck in home and you can't really do the things you love to do. It's good to just sort of keep doing stuff. Even like it's audio, it's still you're keeping busy. You're doing something you actively like doing.
Exactly.
It's a good distraction.
Oh yeah, definitely. Next question. Type40_cosplay. Would you like the Doctor to meet the Cybermen again? And I assume this is relating to the Irish Doctor, but because it just generally says the Doctor, I already thought of an answer for the Cravat Doctor. Which for me, the Cravat Doctor's only ever met the Cybermen once, and that was in Series 2, and we're about to go into Series 4. And Series 4, just for everyone to know, does not have the Cybermen in. So for me, it will be going on 3 series since my Doctor met the Cybermen. I don't do many Cybermen episodes.
Cybermen for Uncharted Past, Volumes 3 and 4. Maybe no.
We'll
we don't want to give away anything, obviously. Right now, I'm saying no. But with me, when it's no, it either means 50% maybe or 50% no. So I'm a liar. I like to lie. I'd rather lie and tell you a false lie than tell you the truth and then spoil a surprise.
So you've said no and then admitted that you like lying. So what you mean is yes.
No. No, the Starman won't be in Uncharted Past volumes 3 and 4.
Well, you just said you like lying, so.
Well, tell me, is that a lie or is that the truth?
Well, I know the answer. Moving on quickly.
Did you just confirm that Starman will come back then?
Moving on. Next question.
I don't even think we answered the question properly.
That's the beauty of it.
Again, from Type 40 Cosplay. Will there be another time jump to show the difference in his and Nathan's relationship?
Yes.
I think he's referring to like how we skipped 15 years between volumes 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yes, there will be another significant time jump, but just by 2 years this time, not by 15s.
Yeah, we're going into sort of a more like I don't know if we ever really said specifically how old Nathan was in Volume 2, but he was 15.
Yeah.
He was sort of in the coming of age time, trying to finding out who he is, and now obviously as he's older now by 2 years or so, he's 17 going on 18 soon. He's becoming an adult.
Yeah, so we're going from his teenage years to now his adult years where, and it's, the next 2 volumes are about parting ways, about your son must eventually leave the nest and become his own man, and that's ultimately the theme of these next 2 volumes.
Which is why there's a larger gap between between volumes 1 and 2 of Uncharted Past, I think that was 7 months. This one is actually a year because we are working on 2 volumes back to back.
Yeah.
And we obviously want to keep their releases close together because they are so connected. We wouldn't want another 6 to 7 month gap between them because they're so closely connected. We want everyone to really have it finite in their head as to what happened previously.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why so it is going to be worth the wait. Obviously, it's easy for me and Dan to say that. We're the ones making it. But really, we have got a lot planned for it, and we really want it to be the best it can, especially seeing as they are the final 2. And they're very important. And of course, whether or not, I know that you've probably mentioned this before, Instagram stories and everything, but with currently at the moment, due to things that are going on in the world, as well as personal commitments with university and just life, Fractured Timeline is making its way there slowly but surely. So having this to work on and come out at the time it is really helps still keep the drip feed of Doctor Who content still coming out.
Definitely, yeah. I agree completely.
And then finally, my last question of it all from TARDIS Glitch. Will we see some sort of tie-in with the prequel at Death's Door? Now, you and I have argued about this.
Well, that would be a spoiler.
Would it? Would it?
Well, it's the final volume, and we did say, I think in the previous one that at Death's Door was the bridge between Uncharted Past and Fractured Timeline. So if we're finishing off Uncharted Past with these 2 volumes, I think it says for itself. Yes, it does tie into.
Although, whilst we're saying yes to it tying in, we are not saying in what way. I don't know yet because obviously we're still in pre-production, really.
Yeah.
In some cases, well, some bits are recording, some bits aren't. But we're still kind of in discussion about in what way it ties and whether it's in a more direct way or in a way that, leaves us at the same point that we, in the same position that we saw the Irish Doctor at the beginning of the prequel.
Yes, of course.
Which we'll, of course, figure out later.
Most definitely, yes.
Yeah. But yeah.
Anyway, that's all the questions from the Instagram story. Thank you everyone for contributing to that, and
thank you very much.
I hope this has been insightful enough, even though despite the fact I like to keep secrets as close as possible and I lie for my teeth sometimes.
Probably didn't really answer half of these questions, did we?
Yeah, in all fairness, I did say that I'll be very cryptic and very vague about some of them.
Yeah. But, essentially, I think we've come to the end of the podcast for this month.
Oh, really?
Yes. I would love to do the podcast weekly, but because there is content coming out weekly and bi-weekly, we wouldn't have a lot of volumes to talk about. We're not, this isn't, whilst we're going under names like, True Idea Productions, you've obviously got Dynamic Works 2012, and you've got Overton Audios, that they are named as kind of like the production companies. We aren't running ourselves like a company because we have our own lives out of it. So, as much as I would love to do these weekly, because I do enjoy putting them together and listening to us all just chatting and putting together things, realistically, we've got things coming out weekly. So, weekly and monthly. So, it's better if we keep it monthly for now. But I really do appreciate from everyone how much they have enjoyed it.
Me too.
But coming up on next month's podcast, we will be talking, well, you and I, Dan, are going to be talking about uploading.
Yes, that's coming uploading. That thing we've been trying to do for...
It took us... It was like... it's a one-off drama coming out on the 17th of June. Took us 7 months to get all the lines for it. It has been written for 2 years. No, this year it'll be 3.
Yeah, oh god, 3 years.
3
years. Oh my god.
Yeah, because we wrote it in the summer of 2017.
Yeah,
before Overton Audios even really kicked off. And it was meant to be visual, but we've been able to make it into an audio because we're magic.
Yes.
And then, of course, we're going to be talking to someone who I haven't organised it with yet about the Young Doctor Adventures, Volume 2, which comes out next month as well.
Stay tuned. Thank you all for tuning into this month's podcast, and I hope you're all staying safe in these trying times, and until next month.
Yes.
Yeah.
Farewell.
Farewell. Bye-bye.